Howdy, folks. Welcome to So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Wednesday episode. Hump Day, baby. The hump day chance is a chance to do the hump. You made it halfway through the week. We always give you a big congratulations for that. And today is Bill Bailey, my dad's birthday. Yeah, can you believe? I wish I was with him today, but since I'm not, I'm just going to give him a shout out on this podcast that I don't think he listens to. But we love you, Bill Bailey. We are proud of you. And I can't wait to have you. We got to get Bill Bailey back on the pod. We've got to do it. Anyways, how are you guys doing? I got to tell you, I woke up on the wrong side of the waterbed today. Some days, I tell you this, some days I wake up happy. I wouldn't say that. I wake up tired, but then I usually can be somewhat positive. And today I was just a grumpy Gertie. I was like, "Grr." I don't know what it was. I mean, there's nothing really that I could pinpoint it exactly to, but I was just, do you ever do that? Or are you the type of person that wakes up and you're just happy? Rebecca's, I mean, not since the pregnancy, but Rebecca usually will wake up and she's really happy. And I hate that about her. She's like really, she's like a bullion. She's like, just really, this has such a great spirit about her. But me, it is really the luck of the draw. Some days I'm good. And then some days I'm just like, oh man, Mondays. But it was like Tuesday. Anyways. But I'm so glad to be here talking to you guys. I truly will say that. And maybe this is just psychotic, is that like that some of the happiest moments of my life is sitting here talking with you guys. Like it really is such a joy. So wherever you are, however you're listening to this or watching this, thank you as always for being here. Now, today we have a really, really fun show for you. We're going to do a bunch of pop culture stories for you. And then we have this is a special treat for me. Like I geek out on hosts, right? And we have Steve Wilkos today, who is in his 19th season of hosting the Steve Wilkos Show. Can you believe that? 19 seasons of anything on a daytime talk show? But he got his start as security for the Jerry Springer Show. And I was telling him, I think this is in the interview. No, I know it is actually. I lived in Chicago for a little bit of time right out of college. And I lived with my buddy Dusty. And they didn't have cable because by the way, he was like a performance artist at the time, and he lived with another artist. And I spent a summer hanging out with artists artists, amazing, so talented, brilliant. But man, I felt like I felt like the odd man out. People were having really highly intellectual conversations. And I was like, hey, do you watch Beverly Hills 90210? So they didn't have cable. So there would only be just the normal stations. Right. And I would look forward to watching Jerry Springer at night because they would have Jerry Springer. And Steve Wilkos, he was the security guard for Jerry. And we do talk about Jerry. We talk about his career. And he's just really this kind of no-nonsense guy that seems like he could get along with pretty much anybody. And I had a really great conversation with him. So I'm interested to hear what you think. Also, if you haven't checked out Tuesday's episode that we did the interview with Samantha Stites from Stalking Samantha, I'm really proud of that conversation. I know that sounds weird. Maybe proud is not the right word. First off, I'm proud to have had the opportunity to get to talk to people like that. But there's a difference, right? Talking about pop culture and reality TV as opposed to talking to somebody that survived a completely harrowing experience and is able to communicate that to us, and hopefully we can take a little piece of that and learn something from it and help protect people in our lives and ourselves better. And I know that this show can be sort of psychotic, right? Because I will go into so many different directions. I mean, the home base is always reality TV. But I think, I say this till we're blue in the face, is that we like all sorts of things. Me, you, it's not just one thing. Reality will always be there. But there are just so many other avenues and things that I've been able to see or hear about because of doing this. And Stalking Samantha was one of those. Talking to Steve Wilkos was one of those. I was watching the new Jimmy Fallon show, On Brand with Jimmy Fallon, that I think the episode aired tonight, but they gave me a couple screeners. And Bose from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is Jimmy Fallon's co-host. And pretty much what it does, it takes like 10 people from different walks of life and they perform in like kind of like an ad competition. So they will come up with ideas for brands like Dunkin' Donuts or Southwest Airlines. It's a little bit of the format how they used to do with The Apprentice in a sense. And I went in kind of like, I don't know if this is going to be my thing, and you kind of know the format of this, but I still enjoyed it. I still got a kick out of it. And, it's not something that I would have probably watched on my own, but I was like, oh, I kind of enjoy this. And there is so much good television, good things to watch. In fact, I just finished watching tonight's episode of Dancing with the Stars, and I never thought I would be saying that to you guys. I was like, you know what? I watched it last week. I enjoyed it. And then Rebecca and I were like, you know what? I mean, maybe we're just in a sort of time, like we were wondering why we found this really enjoyable. Not tonight, but just like the last 2 weeks, we found Dancing with the Stars enjoyable. And it is one of those things where it really does take you away from whatever you're dealing with or whatever the world is going through. It kind of takes you to this place where you're watching celebrities. Some are really amazing. Some are kind of good. Some are getting better. And you're kind of swept up in the rhythm of dance and the costumes and the music. And I think when I was younger, I used to poo-poo things like that a little bit more. Yeah, I said poo-poo. I used to kind of not turn my nose. Maybe it was turn my nose up, but I really enjoyed it. And I think just that means I'm getting closer to an AARP card, like a senior discount. But I really did enjoy it again tonight. We'll talk a little bit about that. And what else did I watch tonight that I wanted to? Oh, so Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Great last scene. I can't wait to do the recap. Our Salt Lake recaps are on Thursday. Now, I'm disappointed to say I did watch this week's Real Housewives of Orange County, which we'll be doing a recap on Friday. And oh boy, did I not like it. It's still going to be really fun to recap, but this show, it really has run itself into a lot of problems as the season continues. So we'll talk all about that on Friday. And I got to check out the Real Housewives of Miami reunion part 1, which also airs on Thursday. And I know what the secret is. I know what the big reveal is, which comes at the end of part 1. And you guys, it's good. It's good. I can't wait for part 2 to kind of get clarification on the bomb that is dropped. I will say, if you listen to So Bad It's Good, your boy is turning out to be right more than he is wrong. I used to be wrong more than I'm right, but now tides are turning. So that was interesting. And then I watched tonight's episode of Welcome to Plathville. Welcome to Plathville on TLC. Oh, you guys, and I think a lot of people will potentially disagree with my thoughts on this, but I think it's not toxic masculinity, but it's some sort of weird pseudo masculinity where they think these Plath men, I don't think they're bad or evil, but I do think this, oh gosh, I need to think this out a little bit more because there's this sort of rugged maleness where there's no really, you could see other seasons of Plathville, you could see where the men were starting to try to like figure out their upbringing and figure out who they were. And it feels like that has been completely pushed aside. And they're like, no, we're men and men are right. Men are right, man. I'm 2 hours late for our meeting. Who cares? I was late. Anywho, like decorum is thrown out the window and they're all kind of like beefing each other up like, you're great, dude. No, you're great, dude. And I think that is such a dangerous way to go through life. This show is weird. I mean, reality shows sometimes are at its best when they give you a peek behind a curtain that you would never be able to like look behind. And sometimes it just scares the bejesus out of you. And I'm not to say that there's not moments that are completely charming and funny and all of these things. Like that's all a part of this show as well. But there is this really unique form, in my opinion, of toxic masculinity on that show where I really go, oh, these men will really not look any deeper in their life. And then there's funny moments like Kim and Barry, the Plath parents, they have split up. They're still trying to like get the divorce figured out, blah, blah, blah. But Kim and Barry meet up at a wine bar, which is wild because, you know, these were both at one point extremely religious people. They meet up at a wine bar and Kim's like, Barry, you gonna buy me a glass of white wine. In fact, if you're not too cheap, buy me a bottle. And I'm like, Kim, what the heck, Kim? I really do think Kim has some real issues, like some problems with money. And then he's like, of course. And then they talk and he's like, I gotta go. And then Kim goes up to get the rest of her bottle. He didn't buy her a bottle. He just bought her a glass. And I'm like, Barry, you got her, man. You got her. So I watched that as well. So it was a big day of TV. Also, man, Warner Brothers Entertainment, my God, Warner Brothers sent me the most beautiful box, you guys. It's the 20th anniversary of Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride. Can you believe that's been 20 years? This beautiful 4K release, but they sent it in like this big coffin box, and it had like the DVD, and like the coffin inside was all etched with some of the lyrics. And then they sent me this doll, this Emily doll, the character Emily. And they sent me this beautiful doll. And I was like, oh my God, I'll give this to my daughter one day. And then I was like, no, maybe I'll play with it first. But then I was like, no, I'll give it to my daughter. Yeah, I mean, that was so, Warner Brothers, if you're listening, thank you, Warner Brothers. Thank you, Warner Brothers. In fact, Warner Brothers, I've said this many times on this show that Warner Brothers has always been my favorite studio since 1989 when the first Batman came out with Michael Keaton. I mean, truly, I was a kid in Kansas and Warner Brothers was like, that's my favorite studio. They also released The Lost Boys, which was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. But we're in spooky season right now. And Warner Brothers, they just re-released like all of the Nightmare on Elm Street, all of the movies. And I think I'm going to get to talk to somebody from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies pretty soon, which for me, that's a huge deal. Like I told this story before, but for new listeners, Freddy Krueger was like Nightmare on Elm Street. My babysitter showed me that movie. And I was way too young to watch Nightmare on Elm Street, like really stayed with me. But Freddy Krueger in like the late 80s and 90s was just, I mean, if you were a kid like that, Freddy Krueger was the man. I mean, he was also a homicidal maniac that haunted your dreams, but he was the man. And they used to have, you guys, this is pre-internet, they would have 1-900 numbers, but I'm not talking about the sexy hotline. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about 1-900 numbers, and it was a Freddy Krueger hotline. And I would see it with my buddies when you watch TV. It'd be like, call Freddy, 1-900 Krueger. And it was like, you would like, the narrator would tell you like a horror story, and Freddy would like drop in on the phone line. I'm like, ha, 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 ha. And so I called it. But I had to keep calling it because they were really tricky about this. They would start the story in the middle. So you would have to like wait for the story to finish and then have the story begin. So you could get or you'd have to call back to get the rest of the story. And it was one of those 900 numbers where it was like $5 a minute or something. But I must have been like a slow kid because I really didn't piece that too much together. I was like, if I was able to dial it, but I was dialing it. And then, oh man, I should have Bill Bailey on to tell this story. He was so I guess they got the phone bill and my dad hit the roof. I guess it was like $50, but $50 at that time, that's a lot of money. And so I didn't get a birthday gift that year. But at first my dad was like, you're calling pornography lines. You're calling pornography. And I'm like, what are you talking to? He's like, I call it. And I'm like, Dad, no, I'm not calling pornography lines. I'm calling the Freddy Krueger hotline. It's like a horror film thing. And I remember my dad's face. It was a look of like disappointment. He was like, oh, you're not calling you're calling a horror? Like, he was like, what are you, a freak? What are you, a nerd? Like, he didn't say it, but like, that was the vibe I got of like, wait a sec. This wasn't about ladies? You called a Freddy Krueger hotline? And I was like, yeah, like, Anyways, Freddy Krueger is near and dear to my heart. And as we get into spooky season, it's October 1st right now. So I'm trying to like filter in some horror films as we get into this, right? I'm trying to scare the bejesus out of my, oh, well, you know what? I'm just actually watching the news. That'll really do it. But other than that, I'm trying to go back and like find horror films like Blair Witch Project, Halloween, do you guys do that every Halloween? I think that's one of the fun parts of getting to this time of the year. I still don't think I'm going to get into pumpkin carving, but who knows? We might do it this year. Who knows? Okay, let's move to Dancing with the Stars tonight. There will be spoilers in this, so if you haven't watched yet, or you're not interested in watching or listening, I'll put a timestamp so you can skip right past this. But it was TikTok night, so they used all of the songs that are little wormholes into our heads that we hear over and over again on TikTok. Lauren Haregi was she was one of the first to go. No, she wasn't the first, actually. Sorry. Jen Affleck from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. She was the first, and she's gone viral many times on TikTok, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And she danced to She's a Bad Mama Jamma. And she did the cha-cha. Jen Affleck dancing the cha-cha. And she was great, man. Those Secret Lives of Mormon Wives girls, they are lethal. They are so good at this. And I was thinking, even with Jen, like this is a packed room full of people on top of millions of people watching. And you cannot detect a nerve at all. There seems to be no nervousness. And that always blows me away. As somebody that lives their life nervous 24 hours a day, I'm always so cognizant of that in other people. And it's so impressive. Like, she's so young, just had a baby a couple of months ago. She killed it, did really good. And then it was Lauren Haregi. Thank you, Samaj. Samaj Bloodson, our pal, friend of the pod, he texted me last week and said I mispronounced her name. So he taught me the correct way to pronounce it. So thank you, Samaj. She was from Fifth Harmony. And she also danced the cha-cha to Fifth Harmony, their own song, Work From Home. And work. And she did amazing as well. I mean, listen, I got to tell you, everybody did pretty damn amazing. So she did amazing. And then after that, it was Danielle Fishel from Boy Meets World. She had pulled a hamstring last week, but you couldn't tell. It was a little bit of a slower number. She did the foxtrot to Sabrina Carpenter's Man-Child. And I guess she was friends with Sabrina Carpenter. And Sabrina Carpenter sent her a video message, and I was like, oh shit, pulling out the big guns, Sabrina Carpenter. She did great as well. And then Jordan Childs, I think might be my favorite, an Olympian, and she danced the Tango to Anxiety by Doechii. I thought Jordan was amazing once again, and she's somebody that said she feels a lot of anxiety, so I totally get it. That was great. Our boy Dylan Efron from The Traitors, he came out and he did Dance to Yukon by Justin Bieber, the Foxtrot. I'm telling you, there is something really interesting about this guy's hips. He really like hip moves, and he's just so I'm trying to what is the word here? He is just so not rigid in a bad way, but he's very he can pop those moves, and he's getting to be very elegant. Oh my God, what is happening to me? I just described Dylan Efron as. Oh, anyways, then Elaine Hendricks came on, and she's 55 years old. Obviously played Meredith Blake in The Parent Trap, and she killed it as well. She did the tango to Gnarly by Cat's Eye, and this one blew me away. I mean, really quick movements. I thought it was great, awesome. And then Whitney Levitt from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she came out, and she did the samba, and she's amazing. She did it to Shake Your Ass by Mystical, and she's amazing. I don't like the cut of her jib, though. I tell you, I don't trust Whitney. As I said it last week, I still don't trust her. Think she's potentially a bad seed, but she's excellent. She's really, really good. And she's got the face. She can like change facial expressions on a dime. Like, really good. Scott Hoying from the a cappella band Pentatonics. he came out and he's been getting better every week. He killed it this week. He got really good scores. I was really, really happy for him. Like I always tell you every week, Pentatonics was one of my mom's favorite groups. But he did good. I was proud of him. And then Ilaria Baldwin. Now, the Ilaria Baldwin, she did great. She did fine, whatever. But Alec Baldwin was in the audience with all their, billion kids. And guess who was sitting next to Alec Baldwin? That's right, Kris Jenner. What? Kris Jenner was next to Alec Baldwin. I was like, what is happening here? But no, Ilaria is very, very good. She's very good. I just don't know how popular she is with the voting audience. But it's not just the voting audience. It's the judges' votes as well. And then Andy Richter, our buddy from Conan O'Brien and so many other amazing things. Rebecca teared up watching Andy Richter in his pre-filmed package and all that, because he talked about this is just really joyful for him to do, and that it really gives him, and he's lovable, he's happy. And listen, not the best dancer, but he has improved. And he's never going to get to that Whitney Levitt Secret Lives of Mormon Wives level, but he's getting better, and he's just you really like him. He did the Foxtrot to Northern Attitude by Hosier and Noah Kahan. And I thought he was excellent, and he just looked really happy to be there. But I thought, Andy's going home tonight, right? That's not the case. Then Robert Irwin, this 21-year-old freak. Are you kidding me? This kid is he's getting better and better. And then he rips his shirt off, and I felt like a creepy old man. And the judges made me feel even creepier. Bruno was like, "Oh, Robert, oh, wow, look at you. You're hot and sexy." I was like, no, God. But Robert Irwin was great as well. And then Alex Earl, the TikTok celebrity, the biggest person on TikTok, closed out the night. And she did it was like the choreographer Molly Long and two other dancers came in to help them choreograph a routine to pop music, like talk about pop music, talk about pop, pop, pop. I love that song. And she was amazing. I mean, truly amazing as well. So I was like, this is anybody's game at this point. But at the end of the day, I thought Andy Richter was going to go home. And it was a shocking elimination, folks. It was a shocking elimination, because who ended up going home was Fifth Harmony's Lauren Harengi. I can't say the name again. Sorry. But Lauren from Fifth Harmony went home. Andy Richter got saved. And Lauren went home, which was shocking, but I guess people do have to go home. So that was the night in dance. That was how I spent my night, watching Dancing with the Stars. You guys might not even be interested in hearing about this, but I needed to talk about it with somebody. So a magical night. I'm sorry to Lauren. She was fantastic. But at the same time, I'm glad Andy's still there, and we live to dance another week. Okay, so we talked about Keith Urban separating from Nicole Kidman yesterday after 19 years of marriage. As I figured, we got more information today, but we also got an actual divorce filing. Nicole Kidman files for a divorce from Keith Urban, TMZ reports. So after the news broke about the separation, I guess they are not going to work it out. This was the article and had many updates throughout the day. TMZ said, "We have seen a divorce document which says, quote, marital dissolution agreement signed by both Nicole and Keith. The agreement includes a parenting plan and a child support worksheet. It also includes a parenting seminar order." So Nicole and Keith have already worked out a custody agreement and child support, and they have agreed to take these co-parenting classes. So that means that they have spent some time already hammering out these divorce details, right? Nicole cited on these documents irreconcilable differences as the reason for the divorce, and she wants to remain the primary residential parent of the minor children. Now, both Nicole and Keith waived any spousal support and child support. Isn't that refreshing? Aaron Pfeiffer's Denise Richards' ex-husband, I'm looking at you. Isn't this nice? When you don't, they're like, we all got our own money, okay? But there is a clause which states Keith has prepaid child support obligation. So I don't know what that necessarily means. They're both going to retain their own assets, which suggests that there is a prenup. The parenting plan says that the kids will spend 306 days with Nicole and 59 days with Keith. They agreed all the major decisions involving their kids, including education and healthcare, will be made jointly. So that is the update, but we still don't know like details. And it's interesting with pop culture, right? And as I get older, I think about it a lot differently than I did, say, 5 or 10 years ago, where I wanted to know every detail. And I think, really, I was started soft, but I'm getting softer because I think at the same point, I'm like, you know what? Who cares? It's their business. Isn't this the worst pop culture show? Who cares? It's their business. Like, let them figure it out. Unless this dude fully cheated on her or something. But remember also, Keith Urban has multiple Nicole tattoos on his body. I mean, Jax Taylor had the same issue. Remember the Stassi tattoo? But I'm wondering who gets custody of Keith's Nicole tattoos. So yeah, I don't know what more we'll find out, but it looks like they had been hammering this out for a while if all of this was already set and in motion. But that's good. I just say it's refreshing after the Denise Richards, Aaron Pfeiffer's divorce story that this seems to be handled much more responsibly. But also, these are just different levels of celebrity, right? Like Aaron Pfeiffer's, and no offense to Denise Richards, but Keith and Nicole are just a different caliber of celebrity with insane talent on both ends in music and acting. So, yeah. Also, for all the readers or audiobook lovers out there, we have a new celebrity memoir. Lionel Richie, come on, pop superstar Lionel Richie. This man is a legend, from the Commodores to his solo work, American Idol, everything. Maritza, who I work with, just absolutely loves Lionel Richie, and my mom adores Lionel Richie as well. But Lionel Richie is just a solid musician. He truly is. So yeah, this book, truly, I will definitely listen to this audiobook. This is right up my alley because I know little pieces of Lionel Richie's life, but I really don't remember. He wrote We Are the World with Michael Jackson. He had his hand in so many things. Right now I'm listening to the biography of pop superstar George Michael, rest in peace. And it's just a great book. The book's 18 hours. But I love it. I've loved George Michael since I was a kid, I found out when I was growing up, Faith and, his pop songs were huge. I didn't know about Wham until my buddy Dusty in high school, who is this amazing gay dude. I didn't know he was gay at the time, but he introduced me to Wham. I was like, I should have known. But I loved Wham too, which was his boy band with him and Andrew Ridgeley before he went solo. But it's so interesting to hear about his life. And, Wham was huge. And then his solo career was even bigger. And this guy was able to break in America, because this was England, and he was huge overseas. But it's something different for people and artists overseas to break in the U.S. This is just a magical market. And for people overseas to break here, it's this huge thing for them. And, Faith was just this gargantuan album with all of these hits, which is so interesting because Taylor Swift is using, we don't know what the song sounds like, but she has a song. Is it called Father Figure? I think. And I don't think it's an exact, it's not the exact song, but it uses elements of the song, I hear, because George Michael is credited on the Taylor Swift track, which comes out in a couple of days. So I'm really interested to hear that. But he did that, and then he did this amazing album called Listen Without Prejudice Volume 1, which I loved. But it was after Faith had been so huge, and he didn't want to do music videos anymore. He didn't want to sell his face or his image, and he didn't want to tour. So he put out this album, and the album didn't even have his face on the cover. It was this iconic photo taken in the 50s at Coney Island. And it's just this beautiful photo. But Sony, the company that released it, was just you don't want to do music videos? You don't want to, because he did the Freedom video and he used all the supermodels, right? Like Cindy Crawford and Christy Turlington. And I think everybody remembers that music video. But Sony was kind of what the hell, dude? And he got into this huge fight with his company, Sony, and sued them to try to get out of the contract, and he lost that. so he did that album, and he spent the remainder of his life putting out things that never fully launched over here in the United States. I had followed his career, and I had loved so many things that he was putting out. He was still huge overseas, but he was never able to recapture that like white hot heat that he had during Faith over here. And then he got really kind of like he turned into like a daily weed smoker, which nothing wrong with that, but then a lot of other drugs in Beverly Hills. It was kind of entrapment by this police officer. But anyways, I haven't, and then he had his untimely death like on Christmas. And his Wham song Last Christmas, I mean, it was just so, I remember hearing that news on Christmas, and I was like, this is just heartbreaking. And this man, he had a very, he didn't turn into like Howard Hughes or her, but he did kind of hide away towards the end. And he had put on a great deal of weight, and I think there was a lot of shame involved in that. And this guy, if you go back and just listen to the work that he's put out, he's just has one of the best voices, one of the best soulful voices that I've ever heard in my life. And I love that Taylor Swift is using his music in some way, because I believe George Michael deserves to be listened to and for his music to survive, the test of time. So anyways, yeah, let's go check out that Lionel Richie book. Okay, I just talked about Denise Richards and Aaron Pfeiffer's a second ago. Well, there is new news. This is a report by Page Six, and the headline reads, Denise Richards' ex Aaron Pfeiffer's drags Charlie Sheen, Brandi Glanville into contentious divorce battle. And it says Aaron Pfeiffer's is preparing to call some big names to the witness stand. Page Six has exclusively obtained court documents Tuesday that reveal the Canadian actor 53 may call Canadian actor? I thought he was like a body healing person. He was an actor? I thought he like healed cancer. Anyways, he's going to call Charlie Sheen and Brandi Glanville to testify. Pfeiffer's attorney claims in the filing that Sheen, who was married to Denise Richards from 2002 to 2006 and shares 2 daughters with her, can speak to Denise Richards' alleged history of not being truthful and of drug and alcohol abuse. Pfeiffer's has publicly accused his estranged wife of having a Vicodin addiction. And then also Glanville will be called to corroborate the star's alleged history of not being truthful and of drug and alcohol abuse. Oh my God. A separate source exclusively tells Page Six, in an effort to not allow this divorce case to be a Brandi 2.0, Glanville is being called to testify on Richards' credibility and manipulative moves. Oh my God, Brandi, this isn't an episode of Beverly Hills. Quote, Denise did Brandi Glanville dirty, the insider adds. Aaron Pfeiffer's witness list includes people who can deny Denise Richards' credibility on telling the truth. Pfeiffer's, meanwhile, says in an exclusive statement to Page Six, quote, call Brandi Glanville what you like, but she is not a liar. Are we sure about that, man? Like, this is getting dirty. It's getting messy, and it feels like it feels too much like a reality show, which I just don't like. So prepare to hear a lot more about this, and I feel like this is just going to keep getting dirtier and dirtier. And Brandi, I would implore Brandi Glanville to really think this through, but I guess Brandi might think this is some sort of comeuppance for how Denise treated her. Who knows? And also, remember, there was that alleged hookup between Denise Richards and Brandi. Brandi said her and Denise hooked up, but we never got word on that. Okay, I said I was going to talk about this yesterday, but Sydney Sweeney, I don't know if you heard about her birthday party the other night. It was a very let them eat cake affair with some billionaires involved, the whole works. She just turned 28. And this past weekend, she celebrated with a huge birthday bash, and it was like a space-themed birthday party. Sweeney herself wore a metallic silver chainmail mini dress entirely covered in glittering stars in different sizes. And this piece that she wore was from the Blonde's Spring-Summer 2009 collection, and it's the exact dress Britney Spears wore in a photo shoot for her Circus album in 2008. Right? So she was doing an homage, maybe. Now, remember, Sydney Sweeney is dating Justin Bieber's former manager and Ariana Grande's former manager, Scooter Braun. They are now officially dating. And word on the street is that he really went after her, and it looks like she has accepted. But they were not the only stars there. Glenn Powell, her Anyone But You movie co-star, was there. He wore a full NASA astronaut suit. And then Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos, newly wedded billionaires. Lauren wore a metallic mini dress, silver stilettos, and a silky black trench coat. And futuristic sunglasses to fit the theme, you guys, little space rocket earrings, and a tall Star Trek-inspired hairdo, right? Now, remember, Jeff Bezos has not SpaceX, the Blue Origin that sent Gayle King and Katy Perry up into the moon. I can't believe Jeff didn't make a play to get Sydney up into the moon, but Jeff Bezos, he repped his Blue Origin company with a Blue Origin security jacket with black pants. All right, Jeff. DJ Diplo, and Ashton Kutcher were also in attendance. Other guests dressed like aliens, space cowboys, and somebody dressed in a furry Chewbacca suit, you guys. And they called this Planet Sid. Sydney Sweeney, Planet Sid. I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope she had a good birthday. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know really what I think about this. What do you guys think about this? I don't know. Jeff Bezos, it is interesting, the other billionaire class right now, like Zuckerberg, Elon, like they're out trying to still like take over parts of the world. And I like Bezos is like, it's just Lauren Sanchez and space at this point. You see him pop up at all these industry events now, Bezos. And it's a little weird. And I always tell people, go back and look at a picture of Jeff Bezos from 20 years ago and look at him now. And it really is something to be said when your body completely changes its entire DNA. And, I mean, just from experience as I get older, I'm finding that I'm getting way more ripped as I get older. My muscles are fully increasing, and it's totally natural. It is totally normal. And yeah, enough said about that. Now, BravoCon 2025, it's coming up in like a month and a half, you guys. You got your tickets. Even if you don't have your tickets, you should still come to Vegas. It's a party. Well, Bravo announced their panel lineup today. Now, I think there's still some surprises, but let's go through some panel lineups, okay? This is a 3-day event held in Las Vegas, and on Friday, November 14th, we start our first panel of the day at 10:15 a.m. My God, that's early. Peaks and the Valley, and this is the cast of The Valley. And they listed all of the cast names, but Lala wasn't on the cast list that I read, so I'm not sure what that means. But they should still be filming the 3rd season of The Valley, so I'm questioning if... And I've always kind of thought this would be a cool episode of doing an episode at BravoCon for one of the Bravo shows, because ultimately this cast are going to go back to their hotel rooms, get into fights, party, and I think that will make for some dynamic television. There are 2 stages, plus there's like a live stage out front that kind of holds little like interview things as well you can go to. So at 10:45, we have the reunion roundup, you guys. And it says, from seating chart surprises to receipt reveals and what really happens during the lunch break, these scene stealers will break down what a day in the reunion hot seats is like. Participating talent includes Robin Dixon, Teresa Giudice, Drew Sidora, and Dr. Simone. Okay, I feel like we could put more people on that panel. On the Bravoverse live stage, that's the other stage I was just telling you about, Love Ariana Style. This is only from 11:30 to 11:50, and Ariana Madix is here to spill the tea, it says. Then at 11:30, they put up Ariana against Potomac. Potomac takes place at the same time on the main stage. Oh, wow, that is a tough... You might have to go Potomac on that one, but I think Ariana pops up a couple of other times. 12:15, you have Bravo Bachelorette Party. Participating talent includes Jasmine Good from The Valley, Jen Pedronti, and Aisha Scott. And these are about brides-to-be. Okay, cool. At 12:45, we have Ask Andy. That was like the first panel of the day last time, Ask Andy. And Jeff Lewis was the person that was interviewing Andy at the start. And guess what? It's happening again. Friday, 12:45 p.m., producer Andy Cohen sits down with Jeff Lewis for a lively, uncensored tell-all before letting the fans put Andy in the hot seat. And I knew Jeff was doing this, so I'm really glad that it's out now. I think that's going to be so good. It was so funny last time. At 1:30, we have Bravo Opposites Attract. And this includes Mary Cosby, Kristen Doty, Gia Giudice, Dr. Heavenly, Marisol Patton, Tom Schwartz, Jessel Tank, and Jesse Solomon. And then we have one called Yep, We're Besties. Then another big one at 2:30, we have Living in Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and that's going to include Rachel Zoe. That's exciting. We have Passing the Bravo Torch with Bravo legends. Ashley Darby, Reza Farahan, Shai Fruchter, Molly O'Connell, and Carol Radziwill, you guys. Carol Radziwill is participating. That's exciting. And also prepare for a lot of announcements on season pickups. If shows are coming back, I think you're going to get a lot of news that week. At 3:45, we have Battle of the Sexes. And this is a huge. Craig Conover, Ariana Bierman, Riley Burris, Joe Bradley, Golnessa, Gina Kirschenheiter, Stephen McBee, Molly O'Connell, Maddie Reese, Tom Schwartz, Jesse Solomon, and Wes Wilson. So that'll be a fun one. 4:15, we have Housewives Party 1, Real Housewives of New Jersey, and that's a smaller one on the outdoor. Oh, this one I'm really excited for. 4:30 p.m. Bravo Editors Panel. So go behind the scenes with expert editors behind The Real Housewives, The Valley, and Top Chef, and even classics like Gallery Girls as they pull back the curtain and reveal how they've shaped some of Bravo's most iconic moments for the screen. Listen, I don't think a lot of people probably would go to, they don't realize, but editing is such a big part of these shows. So that is one that I'm going to go to. Below Deck Captains and Crew at 5 p.m. And that is fine. Then at 9 o'clock, we have the Bravos. That's the big award show, and that's always pretty crazy. And then Saturday morning, we have Getting Lucky at the Love Hotel. And participating talent is Shannon Bedore, Giselle, Ashley, and Luann. I would expect a season 2 announcement for Love Hotel that day, but we will see. Let's see what else. Lisa Vanderpump will be on the live stage. That's the smaller stage for 20 minutes at 11:30. We have a panel for the traitors at 11:30. Participating talent includes Dolores Catania, Kate Chastain, Robin Dixon, Sierra Miller, Tom Sandoval, dude, and Sheree Whitfield. That should be exciting. What else do we have here? We have Southern Hospitality panel at 1:45 at 2 p.m. Oh, this is exciting. We have And We're Back. It's entitled And We're Back. And it says, catch up with Bravo icons who left our screens but never our hearts as they share the scoop on their highly anticipated grand returns to the Bravoverse. Participating talent include Reza Farahan, Jeff Lewis, and Ben Robinson. Chef Ben from Below Deck. So he's returning, remember, in Below Deck Down Under. Jeff Lewis might be returning, maybe in Flipping Out, and we know Reza's returning in the Valley Persian style. So that's going to be at 2 p.m. We have at 2:45 p.m. BravoCon First Timers. Brittany Bateman from Salt Lake, Brittany, is going to participate in this. Danny Bucco from the Valley, Amira Despain from Next Gen NYC, Angela Oakley, Bose from Beverly Hills, and Wes Wilson. That'll be a lot of fun. And then 3:45, we have the Summer House Always Wins, which is the Summer House panel with all the cast. That looks like a blast. And then at 5 p.m., we have Bringing the Miami Fire to Vegas. We have a Real Housewives of Miami panel, including first season Stephanie. It looks like they're all in attendance. That's going to be great. 8 o'clock that night, we have 2 Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. And then on Sunday at 10:15 a.m., we have Ask Andy. On Friday, it was hosted by Jeff Lewis. On Sunday, Andy goes solo, and that starts the day. We have at 10:30 a.m., Housewife to Housewife, Legacy and Newbies. Talent includes Melissa Gorga, Tamara Judge, Bose, Bronwyn Newport, Kyle Richards, and Stephanie from Miami. Ooh, that's a tough one because it's Andy starts at 10:15 and that starts at 10:30. I really love Andy, but I don't know. That's a lot of housewives. That's a tough call, you guys. This is like Coachella. You got to make game time decisions. We have another below deck panel. Oh, this is funny. At 11:45, we have classic Kathy and Kyle. That's right. Kathy Hilton and Kyle Richards will be in conversation at 11:45, just for like 25 minutes. But that's all you need. Enough for, Kathy to be like, Kyle, I thought you were Kyle. It is me. It is Kyle. Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle. So I can't wait to see them talking with each other for more than 10 minutes. I love that. We have at 12:30, I got it from my mama. And it's Ariana Bierman, Gia Giudice, Teresa Giudice, and Kim Zolciak. That should be interesting. At 12:45, we have, oh God, this is a lot of another game time decision. That's 12:30, 12:45. We have the Salt Lake City panel. And Mary Cosby will be there. Is this Mary Cosby's first BravoCon? She's going to go insane, but I got to see that. We have at 2:00 Unexpected Duos, which includes Kate Chastain, Mary Cosby, Angie Katzenavas, Austin Kroll, Madison LaCroix, and Ben Robinson. That should be fun. We have Friend of in the Spotlight at 2:45. And this includes Cynthia Bailey, Jen Fessler, Marisol Patton, and Jennifer Tilly. Oh, Jennifer Tilly's going to be there. That's great. Oh, she's with the Beverly Hills panel as well. 3:30, we have a panel called Shade Assassins with Giselle Bryant, Margaret Josephs, Phaedra Parks, and Larva Pippen. And then at 4:00, we have Thank You Next Gen. Next Gen NYC is getting its own panel. I expect that we will get a second season pickup at BravoCon, if not right before, but I think they'll announce it. Now, I know who's hosting this panel, and I think you're going to want to be there. I know it's late in the day, but I would want to be there just for Next Gen NYC, but I think when you find out who hosts the panel, you're going to even want to be there even more. It's not me, but I'm going to be there. So anyways, that's it. There are so many panels that I didn't talk about, but you can go to the BravoCon app, check it out. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just doing it because we talk Bravo here. But I will be there. I hope you will be there. It'll be a blast. I hope we hang out. I hope we have the best time. I hope we talk about Jen Shaw and Tom Sandoval and all of that stuff. Now, let's get to our guest today. I was just thrilled to talk to him. And even if you never watched Jerry Springer or you never watched the Steve Wilkos show, check this interview out. Check it out. And check it. You might even check out his show. It's in its 19th season, almost about to be in its 20th season. Do you know how hard that is to last that long? That really takes a lot of hard work and talent to get that far and that long in the way that entertainment works in this day and age. So here's my conversation with Steve Wilkos. Come back on Thursday for a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap, and have the best Wednesday ever, you guys. Bye.